The Galactic Council chamber was the size of a city. Stars shimmered through the transparent dome, and 1,000 alien delegates sat in floating chairs, whispering in their strange tongues. It was the day humanity would speak, their first time in front of the entire council. At the center of the hall, Ambassador Ryan Hale stood behind a glowing podium. His dark suit was plain compared to the golden robes, metallic scales, and glowing symbols of the alien leaders around him. The humans had no decoration, no symbols of rank, just silence and calm eyes. A soft hum filled the air as the high speaker, a creature made of blue light and mist, addressed him. "Representative of Earth," the being said, its voice echoing through every mind. "You have been given 5 minutes to explain why your species should join the Galactic Union." The chamber fell quiet. Thousands of eyes, some glowing, some mechanical, some insect-like, turned toward the lone human. Ryan took a breath. "We come in peace," he said simply. "Humanity offers friendship, trade, and knowledge. We believe in cooperation." A ripple of laughter moved through the chamber. The sound was strange. Clicks, roars, vibrations, and metallic ringing. The high speaker's glowing body pulsed like laughter too. "Friendship?" said a giant-scaled creature from the Dravok Empire. "Your kind has been in space for less than 100 cycles. You still use kinetic weapons. You destroy your own world for minerals. What can humans offer the galaxy?" Another alien, thin and insectoid, clicked its mandibles. "Perhaps entertainment," it said mockingly. "They fight among themselves. Maybe they could amuse us." Laughter grew louder. Ryan stood still. His face didn't change. Behind him, the other human delegates, 5 men and women, and watched in silence. Not one of them spoke. Not one showed anger. "You misunderstand us," Ryan said calmly. "We came not to beg for your approval, but to offer partnership." The high speaker's light dimmed slightly. "You presume much, human?" Ryan looked around at the alien faces. "Maybe," he said. "But presumption is how we reached the stars." More laughter. Some of the alien representatives whispered in amusement. The human delegation was clearly a joke to them. A primitive race asking for equality among galactic powers that had ruled for millennia. The high speaker raised a glowing hand. "The council will now vote on Earth's request for membership. Those in favor?" Only one light appeared. A small one. From a distant minor race no one respected. "Those opposed?" The speaker continued. The entire chamber lit up. Thousands of glowing orbs filled the air. The council had spoken. Humanity was rejected. Ryan bowed slightly. "Thank you for your time," he said quietly. Then, without waiting for permission, he turned and began to walk away. The other human delegates followed him. The high speaker blinked in confusion. "You are dismissed," it said. "Guards, escort them to their vessel." But the humans didn't stop. They kept walking toward the great silver doors at the end of the chamber. No anger, no shouting, just silence. A silence so complete that it began to feel heavy, almost frightening. The laughter faded. One alien delegate whispered, "Why are they not protesting? Why are they leaving so quietly?" Another hissed, "Maybe they realize their place." But Ryan's slow, calm steps echoed across the hall, each one sharper than the last. The human footsteps were the only sound now. When the doors closed behind them, the silence remained. For the first time, the council chamber felt cold. Hours later, inside the human ship Sol's Resolve, the air was tense. Ryan and his team sat around a holographic table. The rejection hadn't surprised them. They had expected it. But their reaction, the silence that had been planned. "They laughed," said Commander Imani, her jaw tight. "Just like we thought," Ryan nodded. "Let them laugh. They think we came to join them. They'll never expect what comes next." A red light blinked on the table. The ship's AI spoke softly. "Message from Fleet Command. Operation Dawnfire is ready. Orders?" Ryan looked out the window, at the council's shining world below. A planet covered in towers and light. "We proceed," he said. "Understood," said the AI. The ship began to rise. Its engines glowed faintly, almost invisible. Then in a flash it vanished into the dark. Back in the council chamber, the laughter had stopped entirely. The high speaker floated near the central podium, its glowing body flickering. "Strange," it murmured. Their emotional readings did not match rejection. No signs of despair or anger. The Dravok general growled. "Primitive pride. They will return to their dying world soon enough." But far away, above Earth, fleets were already moving. Not for war, not yet. but for something else. Something no alien had predicted, because humanity had not come to join. They had come to watch, to listen, to learn, and now they knew exactly how the galaxy worked. Its arrogance, its divisions, its overconfidence. Humanity would remember every insult, every laugh, and when they returned, it wouldn't be to ask for membership. It would be to take their place, and whether the galaxy liked it or not. The stars outside the Council's dome shimmered faintly, almost like they were watching too, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Council felt something new, unease. In the cold dark of space, the human fleet waited. Hundreds of ships floated in silence around the shadowed side of Earth's moon, invisible to most scanners. Their hulls were black, built not for beauty but for function. They were not the largest fleet in the galaxy, but every ship carried something new, something no alien had seen before. In the command deck of the Soul's Resolve, Ambassador Ryan Hale stood beside Commander Imani. A holographic map glowed between them, showing the bright dots of alien trade routes, communication hubs, and energy relays that connected the entire Council network. Ryan spoke quietly. We were never meant to be part of their union. We were meant to learn how they think, how they move, how they underestimate us. Imani nodded, her eyes fixed on the map. We've collected enough data from their systems. Once Operation Dawnfire starts, the entire network will freeze for 12 minutes. 12 minutes, Ryan repeated. That's all we need. At the same time, across the galaxy, alien ships continued their daily routines, confident, unaware. The Council had dismissed the humans as foolish dreamers. The word Earth was now a joke on many worlds, until something strange happened. On the homeworld of the Dravok Empire, massive communication towers began flickering. Signals broke apart, messages scrambled into nonsense. At first, engineers thought it was a solar flare. Then the lights dimmed, and every data core shut down at once. In the insectoid world of Kashar, ships fell from orbit when navigation satellites suddenly went dark. The same thing happened in 3 more systems, the same systems that had mocked the humans most loudly. Within hours, panic spread. Fleets couldn't communicate. Councils couldn't send orders. Every network that connected the great powers of the galaxy had been disrupted. Perfectly, silently, and in the darkness between stars. The human fleet moved. Inside the Soul's Resolve, the crew watched as reports filled the screen. Alien systems going offline one after another. Not destroyed, just silent. EMP pulses? Asked Lieutenant Ramos. Ryan shook his head. No, something better. A virus built into the subspace code they laughed at. The primitive data protocols we used to connect to their network carried it, Imani smiled. They opened the door for us themselves. The bridge crew stayed silent, a quiet pride in their eyes. Humanity hadn't fired a single shot, but half the galaxy was now blind. The plan had worked. Ryan looked at the stars and whispered, "Let them see what a small, primitive race can do." Back in the Galactic Council, alarms screamed through the great chamber. The high speaker's form flickered violently, struggling to maintain connection to the energy grid. "What is happening?" demanded the Dravok general, slamming his clawed fist on the floor. "Unknown interference," said a technician. "Every major relay is down. No communication with outer sectors. It's as if the whole network has been replaced." "Replaced?" the general growled. "By what?" Before anyone could answer, the massive holographic display in the center of the chamber flickered, then changed. The council seal disappeared. A new symbol took its place. It was the blue and white insignia of Earth, and a voice spoke. "Calm, human, and cold. This is Ambassador Ryan Hale of the United Human Colonies. We are not your enemies, but you made it clear. You do not see us as equals. You see us as weak, as foolish. That was your mistake." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The image zoomed out, showing a fleet of human ships, silent, dark, and waiting. Thousands of them. Ryan's voice continued. "For now, this is only a demonstration. Your weapons, your fleets, your communications all rely on systems we can now touch. We could have destroyed them. We chose not to. We only wanted you to listen." The high speaker tried to respond, but the transmission overrode every channel. The human voice echoed in every alien homeworld across the galaxy. "For centuries you have ruled through arrogance. You laughed when we asked to stand beside you. But we don't need your approval. We will earn our place in the stars, not by begging for it, but by proving we belong here." The screen went dark. Silence fell across the council. No one moved. No one spoke. The high speaker finally managed to speak, its voice trembling for the first time in living memory. "We underestimated them," the Dravok general hissed. "A bluff. It must be." But deep down, every delegate felt it. The humans hadn't fired, but they had shown power, not through destruction, but through control. And worst of all, they had done it without anyone noticing until it was too late. Back aboard the Soul's Resolve, Ryan sat in his chair, watching the stars drift by. The mission had ended without a single casualty. No alien ships had been harmed. But the message had been sent, clear and unforgettable. Imani broke the silence. "They'll fear us now." Ryan shook his head. "No, not yet. Fear fades. But curiosity, that lasts longer. Let them wonder what else we're capable of." A message appeared on the holo screen. "From Fleet Command, Phase 2 authorization granted." Imani looked up, startled. "Phase 2? Already?" Ryan stood and walked toward the viewport. "We showed them our shadow," he said. "Now they'll see our light." Outside, the ships began to move again, not toward war but toward the unknown. New worlds. New alliances. Humanity was no longer waiting for an invitation. They were making their own seat at the table, and in the quiet corners of the galaxy, where no light reached, whispers began to spread among the alien races. The humans walked out in silence, but the silence was only the beginning. The galaxy was shaking, but not with war. It shook with uncertainty. The Council's powers, once absolute, now realized a small, primitive species had learned their systems, their weaknesses, their pride. Humanity had shown strength without firing a single shot, and that was more dangerous than any weapon. On the planet Vraxis Prime, the Dravok general paced his massive chamber. Scales glinted under the red light as he barked orders. "Find them! Track them! We cannot allow humans to roam freely while we are blind." His aides buzzed nervously. "General, we have detected movement near Earth, but their ships are invisible to most sensors." "Invisible?" the general growled. "Impossible." But it wasn't impossible. Humanity had spent decades learning, observing, preparing. Every alien system that mocked Earth had a blind spot now, a perfect shadow for human innovation. And the humans were exploiting it. On board the Soul's Resolve, Ambassador Ryan Hale watched the galaxy on the holographic map. Dots of alien fleets moved in predictable patterns. Systems that had once laughed at humanity were now scrambling, reacting blindly. Yet Ryan's expression was calm. Commander Imani leaned over. "Some are trying to reach us. Messages asking for alliances. Do we respond?" Ryan shook his head slowly. "Not yet. Let them speak first. Let them prove their fear or their greed. Both are useful." A blinking light on the console caught Imani's eye. Incoming communication from the Kashar Hive direct channel. "It's urgent." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Put it through." The screen flickered, revealing a thin insectoid creature, its many eyes darting nervously. Its mandibles clicked rapidly. "Humans," it said, voice trembling. We were wrong. Please, do not destroy us. We want to ally. You have power beyond anything we imagined." Ryan nodded, listening. "Your offer is noted. Your intentions will be judged by your actions, not your words." The creature seemed to deflate. "Yes, of course." The transmission ended. Imani's voice was quiet. "They fear us, and they seek alliance." Ryan looked at the stars. "Yes, but fear alone is not loyalty. Let them prove their value before we consider it. We're not here to rule by force." Meanwhile, the High Speaker called an emergency session of the Council. Every major race was represented, buzzing, glowing, and glaring at one another in confusion and anger. "What is happening?" the High Speaker demanded. Its form pulsed nervously. "How have humans achieved this? We dismissed them as primitive. They should be begging for mercy." A voice from the back of the chamber spoke. "They are not begging," said an elder from the Eridani cluster. "They walk in silence. And now the galaxy hears their voice everywhere." Everywhere. The Dravok general slammed a claw on the floor. "Silence? It is worse than a weapon. They control our systems, and we do not even see them. If they wished, they could strike now, and none of our fleets could respond in time." The room buzzed. The council members were panicked, but the humans had not even moved a finger to attack. That made it worse. In the human fleet, small groups of ships quietly moved to strategic locations, not to destroy, but to observe, protect, and prepare. Every move was calculated, precise, deliberate. Humanity did not panic, did not rush. They had learned patience over centuries of struggle on a small, contested planet. And that patience now gave them power. Ryan stood at the observation deck looking at a holographic map of alien territories. They will send spies. They will test us. Some will betray their allies hoping to gain favor. Let them. We will know every move before they make it. Imani nodded. And if they attack? Ryan's eyes were steady. They won't, not yet. They fear what they don't understand. That is enough. For now. A soft beep echoed from the console. A report of an incoming fleet from the Zephyr Dominion appeared. One of the most aggressive races in the Council. Ryan's eyes flickered over the data. The fleet was heavily armed, large, confident. But they were moving predictably, and that made them vulnerable. Alert the captains, Ryan said. We will let them approach. Their overconfidence is a weapon we can use. Imani raised an eyebrow. You want to let them get close? Ryan smiled faintly. Close enough to understand their tactics. Close enough to see their true intent. The humans will not strike first, but we will always strike last. And that is when it will matter most. Back in the council chamber, unease grew. Every race was asking the same question. What are the humans planning? No one knew, and that was terrifying. The high speaker floated silently for a moment, then whispered to itself. They walked out in silence, but the silence has already started to speak. Across the galaxy, fleets began moving more cautiously. Councils debated endlessly, sending messages, forming temporary alliances. No one wanted to be the first to face humanity's next step. Meanwhile, humanity observed, patient as the stars themselves, waiting for the perfect moment, because humans did not need to rush. They had time, strategy, and a secret the galaxy had yet to understand. And the galaxy would soon learn that walking out in silence was only the beginning. The galaxy was no longer laughing. It was nervous. Every council world whispered about humans now, though none could admit it openly. Fear had replaced arrogance, but humanity didn't strike. They did something far more dangerous. They watched, they listened, and they acted in shadows. In orbit above the Zephyr Dominion's capital, the human ship Sol's Resolve deployed small drone-like vessels. Tiny, sleek, almost invisible, each one carried data collectors, communication interceptors, and systems analyzers. Ryan Hale watched the holographic display. We don't need to fight. We need to influence, Commander Imani leaned over. Influence how? Ryan tapped a sequence on the console. We know their hierarchies, their trade networks, their secret communications. One small nudge in the right place and they'll think it was internal. Their alliances, their disputes, their overconfidence when we can use all of it. The AI's voice chimed softly. Drones deployed. Signals encrypted. Observing multiple networks simultaneously. Imani's eyes widened. We're about to start the galaxy's most advanced game of chess. Ryan nodded. Exactly. And we are many moves ahead. On the Zephyr homeworld, fleets moved nervously. One high-ranking officer barked at his subordinates. Our systems are being compromised. Communications are failing. Someone is interfering. But no one could find the source. Every trace of the interference vanished before detection. And the humans weren't attacking, they were manipulating. Trade routes rerouted. Misinformation planted in council messages. Faction leaders subtly influenced. The galaxy was beginning to argue with itself. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the Kashar hive, the nervous insectoid emissary from earlier whispered to its superiors. Humans, they are not just strong. They are patient, silent. They are moving in ways we cannot see. The hive elders clicked their mandibles in confusion. How do they do this? We monitor the stars, yet we cannot detect them. We cannot even anticipate their actions. On Earth's command deck, Ryan smiled faintly at the report. They think they are controlling us, he said. But they are the ones being guided, quietly, without knowing it. Imani leaned in, eyes scanning the hologram. They'll never know we've done this until it's too late. Ryan's gaze was steady. Exactly. Fear fades quickly, but doubt lasts forever. Across the council, unease grew. Councils called emergency sessions, accusing each other of sabotage, espionage, and betrayal. Alliances fractured. Fleets were ordered to patrol borders, but every move was calculated by humans. Every path of the aliens was foreseen. The high speaker floated nervously in its chamber. We must respond, it said. If humans continue to manipulate our systems, they will become more than a nuisance. They may become a threat to the balance of the galaxy, the Dravok general growled. Then strike! Find their fleets, destroy them! But the High Speaker hesitated. Their fleets are already gone. They do not fight. They only move in silence, and the galaxy listens. Inside the human fleet, the mood was calm, almost serene. Humans had no desire for chaos. They were creating opportunity. Strategic systems were secured. Key trade networks quietly rerouted. Alien factions began suspecting one another. Look at them squabble, Ryan said quietly. They are unraveling themselves. Imani glanced at the display. And all without firing a single shot. Ryan's eyes gleamed. Exactly. Strength is obvious. Power is feared. But influence is invisible. Influence is permanent. A holographic ping appeared on the console. It was from Fleet Command. Phase 3 ready for execution. Imani frowned. Phase 3? This is getting serious, Ryan tapped the screen. Phase 3 is when patience ends. When the galaxy will see that humans never needed permission to rise. That walking out in silence was just the first move. Back on the Council homeworld, alien leaders were panicking. Dravok officers argued with Kashar diplomats. Zephyr nobles blamed Eridani traitors. Messages were sent. Fleets scrambled, alliances threatened, and every action inadvertently played into humanity's hands. No one had noticed that the humans weren't anywhere nearby. Not one fleet had been in hostile formation. Not one human soldier had fired a shot, yet the galaxy was crumbling from its own pride. The High Speaker floated, pulsing dimly. They are masters of strategy, it admitted softly, almost in awe. They do not fight, and yet they are everywhere. On the Soul's resolve, Ryan and Imani stood together, watching reports flood in. The galaxy is learning humility, Ryan said. Not through force, not through destruction, but through silence. And patience, Imani chuckled softly. We always thought humans were reckless, but maybe that's the point. They underestimated us and we used it. Ryan's expression was serious. We are no longer the species they laughed at, and we never will be again. Outside the observation window, the stars glimmered. Ships moved like shadows, unseen, unpredictable. Humanity's plan was unfolding perfectly, and no one in the Council could stop it. And somewhere deep in the void, the humans whispered among themselves, let them wonder. Let them fear. Let them see what happens when a species they mocked learns the rules better than they do. The galaxy would remember the day humans walked out in silence. But it had only just begun. The galaxy had begun to fracture. Human influence spread like a shadow over alien politics, trade, and fleets. Councils were arguing openly. Alliances crumbled, and old rivalries turned into open suspicion. Humanity had not fired a shot, yet chaos thrived everywhere. On the planet Zephyr Prime, a fleet was ordered to intercept a Kashar convoy. Officers argued. Why are they moving? The humans are nowhere near. One barked. Another hissed. Perhaps this is their strategy, misdirection. They debated endlessly. By the time orders were finalized, the Kashar ships had already retreated, perfectly guided by human interference in their navigation signals. Ryan Hale watched the holographic map from the Soul's resolve. Dots representing alien fleets moved like pieces on a chessboard. Every fleet, every convoy, every transport, subtly influenced, nudged, or misled. Humans were invisible hands shaping the galaxy without war, without noise, without anger. Commander Imani leaned over. They're starting to fight among themselves. Some don't even realize it's us, Ryan nodded. Exactly. They trust their own eyes, their own calculations, and fail. That's the advantage of patience and understanding. We didn't just survive. We've become untouchable without them even knowing it. In the Dravok homeworld, the general slammed his claw on the council table. This is unacceptable. The Zephyrs are moving against us? We never gave permission. The Kashar fleets are retreating. What trickery is this? An aide clicked nervously. General, it seems every move is misaligned. They suspect one another of betrayal. Impossible, the general roared. We are careful. We watch every sector. How is it that the humans? He stopped mid-sentence. No one could answer. He had already realized the truth. Humans were manipulating systems from afar. Not with weapons, not with fleets. With knowledge, calculation, and patience. Back on the Soul's resolve, Ryan tapped a sequence. A holographic projection showed the Council's major powers. Fleets moving against each other, messages corrupted, commands ignored, alliances strained to breaking point. They think they're in control, Ryan said quietly, and they are dancing right into our plan. Imani glanced at him. Phase 4? Ryan's eyes glinted. Yes, it's time they see humanity's real strength. Not just strategy, not just patience, technology, precision, power. The AI chimed softly. Phase 4 is ready. Systems calibrated. Targets identified. A fleet of human ships detached from the Sol's Resolve, silent as shadows, cloaked and nearly invisible even to advanced scanners. Each carried specialized modules designed for covert demonstrations. Energy shields stronger than most alien defenses. Propulsion systems faster than any Council ship. And adaptive weapons that could disable ships without destruction. This is the proof, Ryan said. Not of force, but of capability. Let them understand. We are not their equals to bargain with. We are a new standard. Meanwhile, in the Council chambers, chaos raged. The High Speaker's form flickered violently. We underestimated them, it admitted aloud. We dismissed humans. We laughed at them. And now the galaxy suffers from our arrogance. The Dravok general glared at a glowing hollow of fleet positions. They have nowhere near our numbers. How can a few dozen ships disrupt thousands? How? The answer was simple, though no alien could fully see it. Humans had studied, learned, and adapted faster than anyone. Their technology wasn't just superior. It was invisible. Their strategies weren't just brilliant. They were patient, calculated, and unstoppable without warning. In orbit above a disputed star system, human ships executed Phase 4 perfectly. A small hostile fleet of Zephyr cruisers attempted an ambush on Kashar transports. But every move had been predicted, every action anticipated. Drones disrupted their targeting systems, energy shields deflected incoming fire, and communications loops ensured the Zephyr commanders believed their allies were betraying them. Within minutes, the Zephyr fleet retreated, confused and humiliated, without a single human shot fired. Every ship returned to orbit intact. Ryan Hale observed the battle from the Sol's Resolve. They will talk about this for cycles, he said. They will argue endlessly about what happened. And while they fight shadows of their own making, we will continue to rise. Imani smiled faintly. It's almost artistic, watching them destroy themselves without knowing it. Ryan's gaze turned to the stars. This is the moment humans became undeniable. Not feared, not hated, respected. Or at least respected enough to be noticed. And that is all we need to start our real work. Back in the Council, the High Speaker finally admitted what everyone feared to think aloud. Humans have changed the balance. We no longer control the galaxy as we thought. They are rewriting the rules. Even the Dravok general was silent for once. Every Council species was now acutely aware that the humans were not to be underestimated. The arrogance, the laughter, the mockery was all gone. For the first time, humanity's quiet patience, unseen strategies, and superior technology had forced the galaxy to look at them differently. And somewhere deep in the void, the humans whispered among themselves, calm and collected. The galaxy thought we were weak. They laughed. They mocked. They underestimated us. Let them continue to do so, until it's too late. The stage was set for the final act. Alien fleets were disoriented. Alliances were fragile. The Council's pride had been shattered. Humanity had proven, without firing a single destructive shot, that the age of underestimating Earth was over, and the galaxy would soon see that walking out in silence was only the beginning. The galaxy held its breath. For cycles, humanity had acted in silence, learning, observing, and subtly shaping events. Now it was time for the final move. On board the Sol's Resolve, Ambassador Ryan Hale stood before the fleet's command hologram. Each dot represented a ship, a silent shadow moving across star systems, invisible yet decisive. Commander Imani looked at him, her eyes reflecting the swirling galaxy outside. Are we ready for Phase 5? She asked quietly. Ryan's gaze was steady. Phase 6, the galaxy has underestimated us for too long. It's time they understand humanity's true place. The Council, meanwhile, was unraveling. Alien fleets argued with one another. Trade routes collapsed and alliances fractured. Zephyrs, Kashar, Dravoks, and Eridani could no longer trust even their oldest partners. Panic spread like wildfire. In the Council chamber, the High Speaker's light pulsed weakly. We cannot allow humans to continue unchecked, it said, but How do we respond to a species that fights without fighting? The Dravok general slammed a claw on the table. We must strike. Destroy them! Show strength. But the High Speaker shook its glowing form. Every fleet we send is already compromised. Every plan is anticipated. They are not attacking. They are waiting. The realization hit every council member at once. Humanity had changed the rules of the galaxy, and now they controlled the outcome without raising a weapon. Above Earth, the human fleet moved in perfect formation. Drones extended across the galaxy, showing proof of their strength. Fleets moved as humans intended, systems aligned with human directives, and no alien ship could resist their influence. Ryan activated a secure transmission to the Council. The holographic projection of his calm face appeared in every chamber, every council hall, every alien capital. This is Ambassador Ryan Hale of Earth, he said, voice calm but firm. We come to the galaxy not to beg for entry, not to fight, and not to destroy. We come to claim our seat at the table. Not by permission, but by merit. Every council member gasped. Every alien fleet froze. Every whisper of dissent died in the room. Humanity's message was clear. They had learned, they had adapted, and now they were undeniable. Ryan continued, for centuries you laughed at humanity. You dismissed us. You underestimated us. We accepted your judgment, and we acted in silence. We observed, we studied, we adapted, and now we demonstrate that Earth and its people are no longer the species you can ignore. He paused, letting the words sink in. Your fleets, your trade networks, your systems, these were all open to manipulation because you never believed we could. But we could. And now we hold not just the capacity to compete, but to lead. We do not wish to destroy. We do not wish to conquer. We wish only to exist in as equals, and the galaxy will have no choice but to recognize it. The alien council was silent. For the first time, no one spoke over the other. Every species understood something terrifying. The humans did not need to fight to win. They had already won. The Dravok general growled quietly, then stopped. Even he could see the truth. The Zephyrs were murmuring to the Kashar. The Eridani whispered to themselves. Alliances that once seemed unshakable were crumbling under humanity's calm authority. The High Speaker finally floated forward, voice heavy. Humans, you have proven your strength, your patience, your intelligence. Perhaps we have judged you too harshly. Ryan's eyes softened. Judgment was never necessary. Understanding is, we do not seek revenge, nor do we seek conflict. We only ask that humanity be recognized as a force worthy of respect, influence, and partnership. Back on the human fleet, the crew exchanged quiet smiles. Commander Imani looked at Ryan. They're listening, she said. Ryan nodded. Not just listening. They are learning, and this is how humans survive, thrive, and lead. Without firing a single shot, without a single death on our side, the galaxy now sees our strength. And when they underestimate us again, we will be ready. Outside the observation window, stars shone brightly. The galaxy was vast and countless challenges awaited. But humanity had already proven that cleverness, patience, and unity could outmatch arrogance, pride, and overconfidence. A few hours later, across alien capitals, the council members began to act cautiously. They began sending messages of tentative cooperation. Fleets were withdrawn. Trade routes stabilized. Even the Dravok general sent a carefully worded message. Earth will be treated with caution and respect. Ryan smiled quietly. Step by step, we reshape the galaxy. They will accept humanity not because they fear us, but because they must recognize that we are here to stay. Imani leaned back. And what about Phase 6? Ryan looked out at the stars. Phase 6 is every day after this. Every choice we make, every action we take, ensuring that humanity is never underestimated again. That's our real power. The crew watched in silence, understanding that humanity's victory was more than just survival. It was recognition, respect, and influence, earned not through war, but through intelligence, patience, and courage. The galaxy would remember the day humans walked out in silence, the day when arrogance and laughter met calm observation and preparation, the day when the primitive species of Earth proved that patience, strategy, and unity could change the course of an entire galaxy. And for humanity, this was only the beginning, because now, the stars were theirs to explore, and one day perhaps to lead.